Hello, this is Mikey from Lost Treasure Designs. Tonight or today or whatever time it is for you, we're going to be putting together this trifold folio. It is a steampunk themed little folio. I'm just going to open it and kind of go through it. On the back, there is a little pocket on the back that you can stick tags or bookmarks or whatever in this little pocket here. That's an optional thing. And then, see, it comes with lots of, the kit itself comes with lots of little envelopes, little tags, cards, and then, of course, it's got, two pockets on each side. And then down the center is the waterfall pockets here. And then there's a little pocket at the back. And then these each have little cards that come out. You can write notes on or memories, whatever you're going to use this for. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these back in here, and then I'm going to go over how we're going to first print this and then how we're going to put it together. Okay, so when you're printing, you will when you download this, you will get a file. It comes with 8 pages of the actual kit, and then it comes with 6 pages of the designer papers. Most of these the trifolds only come with 1 or 2 designer papers, but this one I like steampunk, so it comes with more. Okay, so what I want you to do is print them all on cardstock. Then page 1 is the only one that you actually have to print on the back of the designer paper. I chose to do it on the one that matches the front, which is this dark greenish teal color. So that is the only one that you have to print anything on. Page 2, you do not need to print anything on page 2 because these are going to get glued down. These ones, of course, if you want color on the back of those, you could just ink it, the backs, to add some color, or just fall in love with the white. And there are some paper crafters who are totally okay with the white. I like to add a little bit of color. That's why I always print the designer papers on the backs of these. So one trick I want to show you with scoring is I always try to score my papers before I cut them, and the reason why is because I think it's just a little easier for me personally to that way I don't have to do each individual getting scored. I can just do one quick strip of a score line. So I'm just going to line up my score blade here. I'm just going to run that across. I'm going to move this over to the center of these pockets. Run that across again. And then you could do 2 different things. You could just trim this part off so you don't have to worry about stopping, which is always a good thing if you just want to be quick with your stuff. This actually is nice because it has a little stopping point on my Stampin' Up! One. If not, cut it off and then you don't have to worry about it. And then I'm just going to score the bottoms of these pockets just along that little black line that you see that runs along the bottoms of each of these pockets. then you can cut this out and they're already scored and ready to go. That is the only thing I'm going to really talk about with cutting and printing. I'm going to set those off to the side here, and I'm going to move this over because I've already cut cut these out, and I've also inked them. I used this celestial copper to ink them. I was going to go with gold, but I really like the copper because it like pulls out all the little coppery bits in there. I think it also looks really good with this tealish color here, because then it has that, like, this is like aged copper versus like new copper and stuff. So I have cut these out. Of course, these ones are nothing on the backs of those. These are the panels that are going to go for the cover, so we'll use these soon, so just set those off to the side. These are the inserts for the pockets. I'm going to go ahead and set these off to the side because these are like the last thing we're going to be putting in. All this stuff is just extra little goodies that come with the kit. Lots of little tags and bookmarks and cards. And just little things to cut out. Extra pockets. So this is a little bit more than just a trifold kit. This gives you, you know, a little bit of a jump start on maybe a junk journal. So we've got our side pockets here. I'm going to set these off over on this side. This pocket is going to go behind the waterfall pockets. And then here are the waterfall pockets, and they are all ready. They're scored and ready to go, and they are chalked. So the one thing is the kit comes with 6 buttons. I glued these down to just a scrap of chipboard that I had left over, and I did that so that I could have kind of a thicker button. If you want, you could layer these on top of a couple layers of cardstock. You know, if you've just got scraps, you can use that. So we will be cutting these out in a little bit to do the closure for the front of the book, or the front of the folio, sorry. And I'm going to be using 3 copper brads. You can use any that you feel you need to. Okay, so I have inked all my corners and edges. You can kind of see how I did the fold. So these, once you have this all cut out, you've scored on these lines here, you're just going to fold it so that that wraps around like that. I like to then turn it back this way and ink it again, because I like to see my lines a little clearer, so that when I'm laying stuff out, I can use that to make sure that I'm doing it evenly. Okay, so first step we're going to do is I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to glue down the front. I'm actually not going to use glue today. I'm going to use just this, is like a really inexpensive little double-side tape, like a plier. I don't know what you would call this. But it's like glue tape is what it says on here. Being in my craft stores, I was a little hesitant about using this, but I put this one together with just using these, and it worked really well. And it's holding up pretty good. So I thought I would give it a try. I'm always up for showing different options for crafts, because sometimes we can afford different things. Glue could get expensive, or maybe you don't like how the glue warps the paper a little bit. My normal go-to glue is of course this one, but I will not be using that today. Okay, so I've gone ahead, I've put this down, so that's just our first panel. we're not going to put anything on the back yet because we want to put our little buttonhole. But before we put our button, we're going to put we're going to actually do our buttons right now, because we're going to do the buttons on this side and the buttons on this side in here. So while that's laying down, I'm going to quickly grab some scissors. You know, I always have my scissors like right here, and then I don't. So I'll use these ones. Okay, I'm just going to go around this. It is chipboard, so it is very dense and not the easiest to cut with scissors. So be careful. I'm actually going to cut some of these pieces away so that I don't bend this too much as I'm trying to cut this circle out. I'm actually going to do 2 buttons on the front because I really liked the color of this one that has this, you know, rusty red color. I really liked that on the front, but I didn't want to have 2 clocks next to each other. You totally might want to have 2 clocks next to each other. You might just want to have this button here, or you could use just this littler button. Okay, it's up to you. This kit has lots of choices, and you get to make those choices. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this one out, and then I'm going to ink them, just the sides, because I'm going to hide the little bits of white that didn't get cut off. Just going to go around the edge. This also helps to hide the bad cutting job that I do. So it doesn't look quite even. But you know what? I kind of like how it looks a little homemade. I'll just say it looks homemade. Okay. Put this there. And now I've got these 2 buttons. I got a piece of dense foam that I like to use to help me to punch holes in these. And I'm going to grab a pokey tool. Pokey tool today. This one has glue on it. Let me see if I've got one that doesn't have glue. Alright. So I'm just going to, these ones are pretty easy because there's the little dot in the center of each of them. So I don't really have to measure out the center. I'm just going to punch a hole in that one and then in that one. So now I'm going to grab one of the brads. This tealy blue thing is smaller, so I'm just going to have them layer on top of each other. So I'm just going to push my brad through that one and then that one. Then I still have that reddish color that matches around the frame of this, but I don't have 2 clocks next to each other. Sometimes I don't know what I do when I first design these out. I don't think things through clearly. So I'm going to just eyeball where this is going to go. I'm going to poke a hole and put this into the hole, and then I do have a piece of cardboard that I use, but as always, I don't know where I put it. Why? Okay, we're just going to do this. You see this nice scrap of chipboard that we have, I'm going to just go ahead and tuck this up underneath there. And when I flip this over, I can then press this down, and I don't have to worry about it being so tight against the paper on the other side that I can't use the ribbon that I want to wrap it up. So you can kind of see how it sticks up just enough. There's just the gap amount of this. Okay, so now this one, we can go ahead and lay this one down. It's going to be on the inside as you move things around. One thing I also did, which I didn't mention, is these panels, when you print them, are straight. They have straight corners. I rounded these with just a punch. That's optional. So if you're looking at yours and saying, oh, mine's not rounded, it's because I rounded it with a little punch tool. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over, because in order to have our pockets, we're going to have something to hold them so that they're not flopping all over. So we're going to put a button here and put a button up at the top. I've got 2 buttons left on here. So now is the time for this clock to shine, because we are not going to cover up the clock face too much. The other buttons that come with the kit, you can put them as, you know, little accents on cards. You can put it on the envelopes. Anything you want to embellish it. This kit's very versatile. Comes with lots of stuff. You can make this really your own, and you don't have to have it exactly like the way I have it. Okay, speed up those. Save your little scraps so that you can do the same thing with the brad, putting it behind so that we have just a little bit of a gap. I really like these when they're on the chipboard. It's like a coin, like a real button. My wife asked me today why I just don't use regular buttons, and I said because they wouldn't be as pretty if I just used a normal button. I mean, sometimes I will use a normal button, but not when you have fun ones like this. Okay, we're going to put one at the bottom and one at the top. I'm just going to leave enough, like maybe 1/4 of an inch from the top and 1/4 inch from the bottom to place those. So I'm just going to punch some holes. Your brad heads do not need to be as wide as these ones. I do have smaller ones, but not in this patina. And I kind of wanted all the copper to match. It's kind of this distressed copper. There's one. Where did my other brad go? And then you can decide whether you're going to, you know, you could have these matching ones. I think I'm going to put the small one at the top, the bigger one at the bottom. So, oh, I do need that. So I'm just going to eyeball. I did make just a tiny little mark with the point of the brad, but it didn't go all the way through. So and when I open these legs, make sure that they're going horizontal and not vertical, because I don't know if we did them the other direction, if the panel would cover that. We do want the backs of these to be covered. So I'm gonna got that one down. Now I'm just gonna rotate this. See if there I was able to push it through. Okay, so now that we've got these two buttons on, we can flip it back over and we can place our back panel and it will cover those up. So I'm just going to go ahead and run some sticky glue or tape or whatever this glue tape. Run some glue tape down. I'm rubbing on this side because I don't have a flat surface with these buttons. So now we have the bones of our trifold. Okay, so now we're going to, you can go ahead and put these down if you want, or you can start putting together your waterfall pockets. I'm going to set this off to the side and I'm going to focus on these for just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and fold these in first. So I'm going to make sure that the side here gets folded in before the bottom. Always make sure that the side goes before the bottom. And then I like to use just a folding tool to really push down those edges so that it holds a little bit better. Then I'm just going to run some glue or tape right along that edge. That is going to flip over. I can use my finger to help line these two edges up and then press down. And then I'm going to run this again over the edges, and then there you have your flat. You'll notice that this side, the guy is faced up, but when it flips down, then it shows him up. That way he's not upside down. He is upside down if you were to flip it this way, but it's going to flip down this way. Okay, and then you can also take this and just kind of give it a little fold so that it is ready to go when we layer this up. Okay, I am going to go ahead and quickly do the same thing here with these. Alright, so I went ahead and did all of these pockets, so we can go ahead and put those inside our folio. So I'm going to make sure that this is faced forward, so we have our little pocket indent facing up. This is the reason why I like to print these 2 pages on that have the pockets on the back of paper, because you do kind of see in there when you open it. If you love the white, just keep the white. Okay, so I'm just gonna, on this strip here, I'm gonna run my tape along the edge, and I'm gonna line this up so that I'm just above my button and that I am evenly spaced on both sides of my lines, and you can kind of see why I like to have my lines so that I can really see if this is going to be even or not. And then I just like to run the tool down the side so that it helps to flatten that out. Okay, so that's one. Now I'm going to just do the same thing, and I'm going to layer them all the way up. And you could put these in a specific order if you want. I'm not going to worry about, you know, what order they go in, but you might. If you want to tell a story with the pictures that are in there, you decide. Okay. Make sure that got all the way over. There are 6 pockets in this kit. I do have some trifolds that have like 8 pockets in them, and the reason why those have more is because they do not have this pocket that's going to go up and behind. But I think the waterfall pockets are pretty cool. Alright, so that is done. You can see how those go. I'm going to pull that forward. I'm going to go ahead and put this pocket down. Again, we're going to fold the sides in first, then the bottom. That way, when we go to put things into the pocket, we don't have them hitting up against this first. And it, you know, kind of cuts off part of our pocket. And that's why I always say to do the sides first. Sides and then the bottom. Do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and run some of this tape. And then I want to put this I'm going to do about, you know, almost like a frame, the same amount on each side going all the way around. I don't want it to be too high because then I won't be able to access it because of this button. So it should look somewhat like that. You could go ahead and start putting these in, which I am going to just go ahead and do because then we can add our little closure to it. So I like to just kind of squeeze the sides a little bit so that the pocket opens up, and then you can slide. Sorry, I don't know if you even saw any of that. Slide that in. The first time they go in, sometimes the paper likes to rub against the sides. So it just needs a little bit of coaxing in there for the first time. Open. There we go. Well. Here we go. These also make nice little albums. My daughter took and put little pictures of her friends on one of her trifolds, and she pulls it out and you have a little photo album, little interactive photo album. Okay. Okay, so that is in. How we're going to close this up is I've got some ribbon, and this is it's kind of a coppery sheer ribbon. I like this kind of ribbon because you can just melt the sides and you don't have to worry about it fraying up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a little bit here and I'm going to wrap around the bottom button, and I'm going to tie a knot, and then I'm going to tie one more knot and put an extra loop in there just so that it doesn't come undone, and it won't, because you're not going to be like using it a whole lot, but it's always good to have that extra little thing. So I'm going to just go real close and snip. You're not even going to see that part. Okay, then I'm just going to take this, it will go up here, it'll wrap around that button, and then you'll come down to this button, have it wrap around one more time, and then you can trim that off. And you can decide how much you want this to wrap. You can decide how much, tail you want it to have. Then if you have a synthetic fabric, then you're going to want to melt the edge so that it doesn't fray. Okay, so that part is done. Now we just need to put our side pockets in, and we are done with this. Actually, one more thing is I'm going to add a pocket to the back. Because I have this brad here, I don't want to put things in that pocket and get them snagged. So I went and just took one of the buttons, the extra buttons that I had, cut that out. I'm going to cover that up with that, and then I will attach the pocket. I'm just going to turn this so that we don't have it sticking out so much. Okay. Oh look, pulled out the glue. I guess I could use the tape, but I think for these pockets I am going to use glue. I'm going to have to lift it up because, again, you got like 2 buttons there and it makes it really uneven. Okay. I'm actually going to flip this over. And that'll put it down a little bit better. Okay. So now, these side pockets, I'm just going to run a tiny line of glue around the edges, the 3 edges that are straight. I'll flip this around. There are 2 different ones, so make sure that your people in those little frames are facing the right directions, and then you can go ahead and put this down. I'm not going to let this, I can see that little button there, I'm not going to let that bother me because I'm going to fill this thing up with so much stuff I'm not going to even notice that button is hanging out. Oh, glue. Glue is fun and messy. Okay. That side is glued down. Now I'm just going to do this one. We don't have to worry about covering up anything on this side. I had fun designing this kit. You'll notice that each little corner has screws so that it looks like it's been screwed down. I like steampunk. It's just kind of a fun fun thing. Okay, so that is your insides done, and fold that guy down. You could put a pocket here, but it will cover up her pretty face. So we'll just go like that and like that. In just a moment, we will add the ribbon to do the closure, but first I'm going to flip it over. The kit does come with some extra pockets. These 2 extra pockets. Pick whichever one you think you like best. I'm going to line this up because you can kind of see in this pocket how it slopes up. You could actually double score this pocket to make it so that it's a bigger pocket, like it can hold more. I'm not going to worry about doing a thicker pocket on the back. So I'm going to go all the way in to where that straight, the straight of this meets that slant. I'm going to score there. Flip it around, score there. This one actually has a line. I don't know why the line didn't show up on the other side. So then I got that. I've already inked the top, so I'm not going to worry about inking. I'm going to tuck the sides in, then the bottom. You can kind of see with this pocket, if you wanted to make it so that it was a little thicker, so that it kind of popped up away from this, that's when you would do that extra fold. So I'm going to just position this about where I want it. You know what I'm going to do? I do want to add just a little bit of this copper to the edges. I like the copper. Okay, flip this over. I'm going to run some tape. And then you can position this really wherever you want it to go. Okay, so then I have a pocket on the back that I can use to hold the bookmark or any other tags that I want to do. Now to do the front of this, yes, you see my big blob of ribbon here. I'm going to take, this time I want to have a little bit hanging out. So I'm going to give myself about 3 inches coming off. Then I'm going to wrap it and tie it. I'll tie it once, and then I'm going to tuck it down this way, and I'm going to tie it twice, and then this time go in one more time in the loop to give me that double. And then make sure that this guy pulls down this way. And then this can go around the back, and then I'm going to go around the button, and that's going to hold it closed. I'm going to go back around, goes around the button, and then this will go straight down. And the reason why I have this be long is because it kind of looks like a little bow hanging out. Cut those down. Finish the edges, and there you have it. It is done. Now all you have to do is fill it up with all these fun tags and all the stuff that comes with this kit. There's so many things. You could embellish these. Look at these little tiny tags. I like to use every bit of space on the paper. So if I see, like, this strip of extra space on the paper, I don't want to waste it. So I filled it up with some little tags. So feel free to fill this as full as you want, and then just make sure that that is put up. Fold it down, wrap it around again, wrap to the side, go around the back, go around the button, go around the back once more, and then finish with the button. And there you have it. Beautiful, fun little journal insert. You could give it as a gift, fill it up with money. Wouldn't it be fun to open up those little cards and have a few little dollar bills in there? That would be a fun gift, like to a teenager that doesn't like things except money. All right. If you have any questions about this, please reach out to me. I do have other trifold kits that I will be linking this tutorial to, so that you can kind of get an idea of how to put those together by watching this one that has the same layout. If you have any questions, let me know. Comments, go ahead and write them below, and share this with friends. Thanks for following and watching. Have an awesome day.